We are live. Hello, critical thinkers. Hope all is well. Welcome to tonight's stream. Tonight, we're going to be going over the latest updates in the Robert Brooks murder case. Both yesterday and today, we had 10 criminal defendants come back to court. Give me one quick second. Let me turn off that music. Here we go. Okay, guys, welcome. So again, tonight we're covering the Robert Brooks court updates. We had 10 criminal defendants coming back to court, 5 yesterday and 5 today. Tonight, it's not going to be a long stream. There isn't a lot of news regarding this. So basically, what I'll do tonight is I will read an article and then I'll show you some of the news footage that emerged from the court dates in Oneida County today. Okay. So before anything, if y'all could please do me a quick favor, because a lot of these streams, a lot of my videos, I'm noticing are not getting monetized. They're not getting shared out because of the content. If everyone can do me a favor and like the video before anything, do me that solid, like the video, share it to someone who you think needs to see this. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Basically, I have thousands of people that continue to watch my videos. Some of you have seen at least 3 to 4 videos, but you haven't officially subscribed yet. You haven't officially put a ring to it. So if you can do me a favor and put a ring to it, just tickle that like button and tickle that subscribe button, and then select all so you receive all of the notifications so you find out when I am going live. Typically, I announce my live streams maybe a couple of days before. If there's something new in the news cycle, I will announce it the day of. So to be kept up to speed with everything that's occurring, please subscribe to the channel and select all for the notifications. Okay. So again, we're covering the Robert Brooks update today, and I was hoping that I would be able to tell you that all of these defendants have accepted the plea deals, but that isn't the case today. Okay, but before that, some of you may not even know the history, the genesis of this court case. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to give a very brief, 2 to 3 minute summary of what occurred. Back in December of 2024, you had an incarcerated individual by the name of Robert Brooks, who was being transferred from Mohawk facility to Marcy Correctional Facility. During that transfer, he was beaten 3 times. He was beaten 3 times savagely. This resulted in his death. We waited months for an arrest and indictments. Those arrests and indictments finally came, and it was surprising it took that long because there was actual footage of him being murdered on camera. We saw this. There were 4 different body cams from correctional officers who did not know that their body cams were activated, that they were on standby mode. They captured video, but with no audio. It took a couple of months for these correctional officers to be indicted, to be arraigned. That occurred, and now there's back and forth in terms of these court dates. So 6 of these defendants were charged with second-degree murder, depraved indifference. There's various other charges of gang assault, tampering with evidence. So we're at the point now in which you have 10 defendants. They're coming back to court to state whether they will be accepting the plea deals from Special Prosecutor Bill Fitzpatrick. So I'm going to go ahead and share this article with you now. I'm going to pull it up. This is from Central New York, CNY. Okay, here we go. So Utica, New York, all 10 former Marcy Correctional Facility officers have received additional time to accept or deny their plea in Oneida County Court. I know a lot of people are very frustrated with this, but this is, from my understanding, and again, I'm not an expert, but this is my understanding of the court process. And one thing that you'll learn in this process, and I will actually play for you a bit of the video from one of the proceedings today. Okay, so what we learned is that there is an additional body cam that was discovered, and that has to be shared with defense. So for any of you who don't know, the term discovery is the process where the prosecution shares all of the relevant evidence in the case. They present copies of it to the defense attorneys so that the defense attorneys can plan to defend their client, and also they make an assessment whether their client should take this to trial or take a plea deal. Back to the article. On Wednesday, correction officers Christopher Walrath, Nicholas Angelo, Michael Mashaw, Michael Fisher, and David Walter were each granted more time to consider their plea. On Tuesday, this is yesterday, Anthony Farina, who's a special type of demon, and I'll show you his court appearance in a few minutes. Matthew Gallagher, Nicholas Gentile, Nicholas Kiefer, and David Kingsley were granted their extra time. So again, all 10 correction officers appeared in Oneida County Court yesterday and today, and all were granted additional time. Walrath, Angelo, Farina, Gentile, Kiefer, and Kingsley are facing a murder charge. Bashaw, Fisher, Walter are facing a charge of manslaughter. Gentile is facing a felony charge of tampering with physical evidence. Now, for those of you who don't recall from the arraignments, Gentile is a new name. He's a correction officer we did not see or hear of in the body cam footage, but he was charged with tampering with physical evidence, and he had no bail amount. He was ROR. Let's continue on with the article. The charges are concerning the death of Robert Brooks, an inmate at Marcy Correctional. Brooks was killed in December 2024 at the facility. Body cam footage released by the New York State Attorney General's office showed the corrections officers beating him or standing by. Yes, we saw. Let me make myself big to talk to you about this. So, what we saw in camera, and at first, I did not want to see the footage, or I saw snippets of it, but I forced myself to see the entire footage, and the footage is restricted. So on YouTube, if you do watch this full footage, you have to sign in that you're over 18. Basically, there was an excellent analysis done by JB Nicholas at the Freelance. His YouTube channel, you can catch that video that he did in which he analyzed all 4 body cams, and he did an excellent job with that. So if you haven't seen that already, go over to, not right now, but go over to the Freelance JB Nicholas YouTube to watch that video of the full analysis. I mean, second by second, pretty much. It's very, very intense and very comprehensive. So we have this body cam footage that was out there on full display. It took a long time for these defendants to be arrested. So let's move on. Let's go back to the article real quick. Judge Robert Bauer gave the 10 men more time to consider their plea. Let me pull myself back down. Judge Robert Bauer. Many people have asked me about who's the judge in this case. It's Robert Bauer. Gave the 10 men more time to consider their plea due to new evidence found amid the discovery process. So that sounded like a bit of a tongue twister, but so basically there's new evidence that emerged that we hear from these court proceedings. The new evidence is a new footage. It's a new body cam footage. We don't know where it's from. We don't know which officer it came from. It might even have been a body cam that was put on the side somewhere, placed in the bathroom. Who knows? I don't know. We don't know as of yet. The new evidence is related to new body camera footage. Farina, Gentile, Kiefer, and Kingsley will return to court on May 13th. Walrath, Mashaw, Fisher, and Walter will return on May 14th. Gallagher and Angelone will reappear on May 19th. If the former officers do not accept their plea deals, they will return to court in June for pretrial. So they'll basically be pretrial motions in June if they don't accept these plea deals. And based on what I saw from the court footage today, it seems like this is going to be, and I could be wrong, this is going to be the last time that these defendants will have time to consider the plea deals. It turns out that there's new evidence and there were some problems with discovery. So I think I mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. The term discovery applies to both criminal and civil cases. In a criminal case, the prosecution has to have the opportunity, has to give the opportunity for the defense counsel to go over the evidence, to see everything, and it's by law the prosecution has to do that, and the defense needs time to comb through the evidence, to comb through the videos, and that's time consuming. So what I want to do before I jump to a video of the proceeding is actually just go to the comments really quick, go to the chat. And again, for everyone joining us, do me a quick solid. I'd greatly appreciate it if you can like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. It helps with the algorithm. I am already seeing kind of YouTube not putting out a lot of the content because of the sensitive nature of it, because of the content of abuse, of beatings. It's not a very popular uh, topic. It's not like I'm doing videos on Pop the Balloon or I'm doing videos on Karen Reed, which for anyone who hasn't watched it, you should watch the Karen Reed trial. It's really the epitome of corruption, but that's a whole other story. So if you can do me a favor, like the video, subscribe, and share this, that'll be greatly appreciated. We got Jason Scott. Jason, what's up? Thank you for being here, Jason. Jason, really appreciate it. We got Chris Milkey. Good evening. Who says good evening? Welcome, Chris. Welcome back. We have from A to B. Good evening. Welcome from A to B. Thank you for being here. We have my sister from another mother, R.T. Smith. Blessings, everyone. She says, welcome, R.T. Smith. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate the support. We have Miss Sagittarius 61, and she says with the no one besides with I think she's saying there's no one besides you covering this horrific story. So there are some other YouTubers covering it and covering the atrocities occurring in the New York State Department of Corruption and Criminal Statist. So there are a few other YouTubers covering it. And the reason why it's not being covered is because this is not popular content. The only way this is going to be more mainstream and more out there is by you, is by the general public. So as I mentioned to everyone, I am not going to drop this. I'm going to continue covering these court cases till there's a final disposition. Because one thing I've always critiqued about mainstream media is you will hear about these stories once and then you won't hear about it. You won't hear about it again. You won't. So my goal is to present this story to everyone till the very end or until I die, whichever comes first. So let's jump to Angel. Angel Walters saying hello all. Welcome, Angel. Thank you for being here. Michelle. Carrier, does that mean there were 5 body cams recording, not just 4? I cannot say with certainty yet. We don't know. We will find this out soon enough, hopefully, or maybe not. It could be, as we saw in the Messiah Nantry case, we saw a body cam that was hung over inside a bathroom that recorded a conversation from the correction officer. So this might be an instance where they moved their body cam outside of the action and it covered a piece of the action, a piece of the beating, a piece of the murder. I don't know, but as soon as I know, Michelle, I will share that with everyone. Chris Milkey says, I think everyone involved should be charged with murder. Yeah, that's a very tough thing. But I mean, I'm grateful that we got at this point right now, because there's been other deaths in the New York State Department of Corrections, and no one has done anything about those. So maybe this will bring out attention to the other, hundreds of inmates that have been beaten, and the specific number of suspicious deaths in the Department of Corrections. I'm still trying to amass that number, but it's high. It's high. Angel says, at Chris Milkey, my thought as well. Okay, Miss Sagittarius says, correction, there's no one besides you covering this horrific story. Yeah. Yeah, a few others. I know Conservative Felon is covering it. Duty Ron has been covering this as well. So there's a handful of other YouTubers. I believe also LTL Media might be another one. I might be saying the YouTube name wrong. Chris says it's not like you are doing cat videos. Good, good conversation. Yeah, well, the thing is, cat videos gets a lot of views. You have people who love the felines and people who love the dogs, and you have other topics that generate more interest. Unfortunately, I mentioned this before, that it's hard to get people to care about those incarcerated unless it happens to you or unless it happens to a family member. I've had people say to me, directly to me, I don't care what happens to people in prison, but I guarantee you, if they went to prison themselves or their family members did, they would sing a different tune. So I don't believe that just because you're incarcerated means that you have your civil and human rights, your God-given rights taken away. That's malarkey. Woody's watching, saying, "You're the man, always great coverage." Thank you. I really appreciate that. And that's why I had to come on tonight, and I had to come on live just to interact with you guys, to see the comments and to interact with you. I appreciate that. Mitch Sagittarius says, I've been obsessed with the Karen Reed trial since the very first trial. Yeah. What's happening to Karen Reed is an atrocity. It's the definition of corruption. Um, that's a whole other story. You have some great YouTubers covering Karen Reed. You have one YouTuber who I support immensely. Her name is AV to the Seventh Power. If you want to watch amazing Karen Reed footage, go to AV to the Seventh Power. She has a great YouTube channel. Check her out. From A to B, the prosecutors are not trying to get justice for Robert Brooks and his families. Uh, you know, I will say let's see what happens at the end. Let's see what happens. Right now there are plea deals. Let's see if they get accepted. Uh, the only plea deal that I know of is Anthony Farina, who was offered 18 years, and his defense attorney scoffed at 18 years. So I'll go over a couple more comments, and then I want to jump into the action. Angel Walters saying Rockstar has been staying on this case as well. Yes, I believe you're referring to introvert Rockstar. He has been covering this, and actually, he was one of the first ones that brought this to my attention by one of his early videos. So yes, um, the electronic man. What happens when people no longer trust the system? You have well, I think people don't trust the system now. People do not trust the system now. You will have chaos. You will have a very ugly, ugly place, and a very ugly society. But I think that's where we're heading towards right now. Josie Manning Taylor says, "Good evening, welcome, Josie. Thank you for being here from A to B. Never should have been given plea deals like that." Yeah, I mean, there are people who agree with you. There are people that say they should not have been given plea deals. My personal belief is that plea deals are a part of the system. From my understanding, it's rare in which you don't have a plea deal offered. That saves the expense of going to trial. So I don't know. I definitely want to see these demons locked up and put away for a long period of time, especially those that have had multiple civil cases against them. Hussein Fares, is it confirmed that the new information is a footage? And if it will they publish it to the public or not during the trial? I do not know. They said it's body cam footage. You know, we don't know what it's of at the moment. We just don't know. So the moment we know, I will share that. Angel Walter says yes. Chris Milky, auditing Erie County and Long Island, auditing broke the case open. Interesting, interesting. By the way, if everyone could please do me a favor, just write down in the chat where you're watching from. If you're from upstate New York, if you're from Long Island, Staten Island, if you're in Florida, if you're from Australia, I have people from all different countries here. From A to B says, I'm not saying just a plea deal. I'm saying 18 years for that murder. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So what I'd like to do now is go ahead and show some footage from the actual proceeding today. Now we know about Anthony Farina. Anthony Farina is seen in the footage, basically assaulting, killing Robert Brooks. He shoves a rag down his mouth, basically forcing him to choke on him, to choke. And we saw Anthony Farina shove his boot on Robert Brooks' genitalia. Uh, so Anthony Farina is a special type of demon. So, I mean, oh, and mine just, and, and you know, I don't want to do this sometimes, but before I go to the video, you have to understand that what happened, what we saw on camera in the Robert Brooks murder is evil. It's the epitome of evil. It's the epitome of demonic forces. It's taking advantage of a vulnerable population. Now, some of you may not think those people who are incarcerated are vulnerable, but they are. You know, they're controlled by correction officers, handcuffed, beaten. It basically, it's not a fair fight. So if you're a correction officer and you love to fight, go into the UFC. If you're a correction officer and you love to fight, make it a fair fight. Don't have 10-on-1, 5-on-1, and handcuff someone and get your sadistic rocks off beating someone who can't fight back. That's the epitome of cowardice, and it's evil. So, and this is common practice in the Department of Corrections. I hate to say this, but it is common practice. All right, I'm going to pull up this video, and I'm going to try not to get so worked up. So this is footage of Anthony Farina in court today. Hopefully everyone can hear and see what I'm showing. Anthony Farina. I have really been angry. I hear you. I hear you. Here we go. We got Anthony Farina. And check out the interaction between the judge and his defense attorney.
This is the matter of the people against Anthony Farina, indictment 25035. We return this matter to today's date for a report on the people's pretrial offer. Where do we stand today, counsel?
Your Honor, I can't take a position at this point. We haven't had an opportunity to review the discovery. It's pretty voluminous. At this point, I just asked the court to, or the people to leave the offer open as for the previous two defendants.
It was done with the previous two defendants for very specific reasons relative to an inability to review certain discovery materials. In this case, I believe you've had the bulk of the discovery since the indictment was filed a couple of months ago now, counsel. You have some other.
So just to pause it really quick, you see the judge is giving, by the way, the audio quality is not that great. It's not me, it's them. But just hopefully you're able to hear the audio. But the judge is giving a little bit of pushback about the discovery process, that they've had the bulk of the discovery, but they're unable, the defense attorney saying they're unable to make a decision yet.
Compelling reason that you're not in a position to report today.
Well, as was previously indicated, there are videos that we haven't been able to access. There are some materials that we open up and the pages are blank. I don't know if it's intentional or not intentional, I'm not sure. It was compiling a list of all the discovery issues that we are having. I wasn't prepared to kind of go through every single one of them. I can say that there's a PDF in discovery 211, 2444 that we can't open. I know that some of the, again, like some of the videos won't play, so I'm not really positioned, I guess.
So as of now, the attorney is basically saying that there's problems with the discovery, with the technology aspect of it. So this was echoed from the other defense attorneys. They had their own reasons, and they mentioned there was a problem opening documents and stuff of that nature. So
All of discovery, but certainly discovery we can't access.
Have you conferred with the prosecution regarding these issues?
No, I have not.
Okay.
so just take notice of that interaction. So the defense attorney was saying he was having issues with the discovery, with the items presented, and Judge Bauer asked him, did you have an opportunity to confer with the prosecution? He said, no, I have not. What the F are you doing? If I'm Anthony Farina, this is my defense attorney, like I would say, what the hell are you doing? Or this might be a stall tactic. You know, this might be by design. Let's see what happens.
So the CPL does contemplate that that's exactly your obligation. If you encounter some difficulty in obtaining or reviewing discovery, your first step should be to reach out to the prosecution and not allow some 2 months to elapse and appear here in court in what is working out to be a rather wasteful manner. What I'm going to do is adjourn the case for 2 weeks to your motion filing date. I expect between then and the next appearance, you will confer with the prosecution. You will iron out any differences that you have with respect to discovery, ensure that you're able to review all of those materials, have a meaningful conversation with your client so he's in a position to accept or reject a proposed disposition on the next date. If you encounter further difficulties or for some reason the process.
By the way, do me a favor. If you believe what's occurring now with the problems with discovery is a stall tactic, write stall in the chat right now. STALL. Write stall. STALL in the chat if you believe that this is really a stall tactic, that the intention of this is to delay this even further to give their clients more freedom. Write stall if you believe that's the case.
Prosecution is not compliant with your requests, then you may involve the court, and I will get involved and ensure that these issues are ironed out. Okay, the matter is now adjourned to May 13th at 9:30 a.m. to report on the offer. If the matter is not resolved on the 13th, motions are to be filed by the end of business that day. People's response is then due to be filed May 27th. The case would then be adjourned to June 3rd at 9:30 a.m. for any argument that parties wish to have and the court's decision. Now, I do also have the separate pending motion brought by defense counsel seeking for this court to vacate or modify the protective order that was issued on March 31st of this year. You received your writing to that effect. Mr. Rialto, is there anything further you wanted to say in support of your motion?
No, that was a joint defense motion, but no, I think we thoroughly lay out the reasons why, and also the understanding in our last appearance in the transcripts with the special prosecutor stating it should have been limited only to cooperating witnesses. That's overly broad.
Mr. Woodford?
Judge, at this point, the people take no position and stand by our request as it was previously stated.
Okay. As do I. I think the issue may be some confusion with respect to the term cooperating witnesses. From the court's perspective, virtually anyone and everyone who participated and gave testimony on behalf of the prosecution is to some degree a cooperating witness. I do believe that, as before, the people have shown good cause for the issuance of the protective order in the manner that it was issued previously. While on one hand, I understand and appreciate the
Why they're zooming in on this stenographer, I don't.
That could prejudice the jury pool. That issue was dealt with on a prior motion brought by Attorney Pasalacqua. And I believe that following the court's direction, the prosecution has refrained.
Just to pause it very quickly. So there was a little bit of back and forth about a restraining order having to do with not speaking with potential witnesses and other defendants. So that's what they're going back and forth on.
From any such statements going forward. I see no need nor useful purpose in modifying the court's protective order that would then permit the defense to disclose identifying information about civilian witnesses publicly. That is in no one's best interest. So the motion is denied, the protective order remains. Did you have anything further, Mr. Whitworth?
Yes, Your Honor, this is our first appearance following our COC as well as additional discovery. We had digitally filed that with the court and defense. We're providing the defense with a hard copy of that and are reaffirming that readiness for trial.
Mr. Rialto, do you acknowledge receipt of the COC and your discovery materials?
I do, Your Honor.
Anything further than from either side?
No, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. First, an objection to the court's ruling. Secondly, I ask the court to do an inquiry as to people's compliance as making reasonable inquiries and due diligence to provide all discovery at this point.
Mr. Whitworth, are you in fact ready for trial, and have you made reasonable inquiries and due diligence to obtain all necessary discovery?
Yes, Your Honor.
Those things have all been turned over to the defense.
Correct.
Anything else?
Nothing further.
May 13th.
Okay, so there you have it. You have Anthony Farina coming back. I believe the date was May 13th. Also, in another proceeding that occurred, there was talk of a pathology report basically being submitted to defense counsel. So right now they're going through the discovery process. This seems like this is pretty much done. The prosecutor said that they've handed over everything, with the exception of that one pathology report that they're waiting on. And when the prosecution gets it, the defense counsel will get that as well. So I'm going to remove this from the studio. And what I want to do next is I do want to show you one more video, but I want to invite anyone who wants to come on to chit chat with me, connect, and let me know what you think about the latest court dates, the latest outcomes. If you think they're truly stalling, if you think that we'll see convictions. So I put a link in the chat now. The only thing I say is that if you do want to come on and connect with me, you do have to show your camera, you do have to show your face, no loud music in the back, and because I don't want to get copyright striked from YouTube, and be respectful. And if you have a difference of opinion, those people that disagree with me get to go up in the front of the line. I think I'd rather have a conversation with someone that disagrees with me so that we can really chop it up. Okay. So the link is in the chat. If y'all could please do me a favor, another quick 20-second commercial. Please like the video. I would appreciate it. Right now we have about 93 people in the chat. If you guys can do me a favor and like the stream, that would be greatly appreciated. I think right now I'm at 50 likes. If I can get it up to 75 likes, that would put a smile on my face. So if y'all can do me a favor, just please tickle that like button. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. Okay. So I'm going to pull up one more video coverage from News Channel 2. This is WKTV. Give me one quick second. I'm going to pull this up and share this, and then we will take it from there. And hopefully StreamYard will behave with me tonight. Okay, let me pull this up. Oh, that's not it. Stop sharing that. Okay, here we go.
New this noon, 5 more corrections officers were in Oneida County Court this morning to report on plea offers in the beating death of Marcy Correctional Facility inmate Robert Brooks back in December. Now, similar to when 5 other corrections officers were in Oneida County Court on this case yesterday, none of the 5 today as well had a decision on their offers. Today, it was because all received new discovery information from the prosecution, so their clients needed more time to decide. Now, Nicholas Anzalone and Christopher Walrath are charged with murder. They are due back in court on May 14th and 19th. David Walters, Michael May.
By the way, my thing is, if you're appearing in court, like, shouldn't you wear a suit and tie? I mean, I'm going to be critical, but as a defendant, you should be wearing a suit. Just a little side thing.
Mayshaw and Michael Fisher are charged with manslaughter, and they are due back in court on May 14th.
Okay, that's it. Okay, guys, so basically we're at the point now. We have 10 defendants. They're coming back in mid-May. There's 3 separate dates for May. I believe it's May 13th, May 16th, May 19th. I'm going to confirm that, but just based on the reporting, based on these news videos that have come out, that's where we're at. So I'm going to read a few more of the chats. And again, y'all could do me a favor. Please like the video. Greatly appreciated. We have 92 people watching. We got 60 likes. If we can bring it up to 75, just 15 more, that'd be greatly appreciated. Okay. Okay. So let's go through a couple of the comments here. We got Stephen Lennon at Sunset for sure. He never thought he would get busted, especially on camera. Yeah, I think that sentiment of, I believe these correction officers did not believe they were going to get caught, and they're probably kicking the 4 officers who had their cameras on standby mode. Sunset, thank you for being here again. Sunset says, surprise, Farina's attorney didn't blame the the past strike. Too funny. Chris Milkey says, why isn't the prosecution fighting this? However, it is the judge's discretion. Okay. Yeah, so Chris, tell me exactly what you think the prosecution should be fighting at the moment, because I do know that, they have given some new materials to the defense, and the defense does need some time to go over that. So Woody's watching says, I'm not going to jail being a cop that killed an inmate. Oh, hell no, I could not imagine. Exactly. Sunset, Stephen, exactly. Okay. We got Wayno says, it definitely looks like a stall. One thing for sure is that they are scared as a MF, rightfully so. I mean, yeah, those officers going into court, they look shook. They look shook. They look like they believe that they will be going to jail. Now, in terms of the prison experience they will have, it won't be the regular prison experience that you or I would have if you or I were incarcerated. I believe that these correction officers, they'll be put in a special housing unit. They'll be protected by their brothers in blue, and they won't have the same experience that you or I would have. They won't. They won't. Hussein Faraz says, why this case is not getting the attention it deserves. I remember George Floyd's case. U.S. was on fire, protests everywhere, and a lot of people talked about it. Yeah, but yeah, this case is not getting the level of attention. There are hundreds of Robert Brooks. Hundreds, if not thousands of Robert Brooks. Some of whom may not have died in custody, but some have come within, like a hairline close of dying. Many have had injuries that, I don't even want to repeat. I've covered this in some of my other videos, but, there's a gentleman who has to use a catheter to go to the bathroom. There are people with just severe injuries and disabilities based on the brutal beatings from these correction officers. So there are many Robert Brooks, and hopefully the media will cover more and more of this. Miss Sagittarius says appears Farina has lost a great deal of weight over this. Possibly, yeah. I haven't. I didn't really notice his body frame per se. Sunset says judge should have said go to jail and think about your plea. There are a lot of people, including myself, who felt that the bail amounts were low. I still believe that these bail amounts were low. I was shocked that at least a couple of them were not remanded and had to stay in jail. So for a murder caught on camera, I was surprised that did not happen. Red Pill Truth says they are all monsters. I agree. It takes a special kind of human being to beat and kill an incarcerated individual with their hands tied behind their back. I mean, it does. I mean, what can I say to that? Um, it's horrible. It's horrible. Okay. All right. So it's been about 45 minutes. I think I want to stop it here. Again, I want to thank everyone for being on. If y'all could do me a favor, please like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Many of you have not subscribed to the channel. If y'all could please do me that favor, I really appreciate it. It helps with the algorithm and helps get this content out there. Okay. So as I always state, my goal is to go deeper than what the mainstream media is sharing and telling you. I just don't want to go over headlines and give you like a 3-minute spiel. I want us to go deeper and go into the why in terms of why things are happening and how things have become the way they've become at the New York State Department of Corruption and Criminal Statists. So for everyone out there, you have a great night. Hug and love your family. Take care. God bless and see you next time. Bye-bye.